Hey, so you want to find out how well the Surface Book games? Well, in this video I'm going to test the top 10 games and a couple more to show you how well these games run on the Surface Book. I'll test different resolutions. Overall, I'll ask the question, can you game on it? What does it really feel like to game on the Surface Book? At the end of the video, I'll also go over the top questions I get about this particular laptop, and I'll also show you guys some thermal imaging to show you how hot it gets, where it gets hot, and whether that's bearable. And we'll also test the sounds to see if the fan makes a lot of noise, because you guys don't want loud gaming laptops, and trust me, neither do I. And I definitely don't want a gaming laptop. I want a nice laptop that can game.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to play the game, and I'm going to tell you how the game feels, and I'm going to use different graphical settings. So right off the bat, we're going to try 3000 by 2000, and everything's on very high. I also even enabled anti-aliasing and vertical sync. And I gotta tell you, it's very impressive. The game runs at a solid 60, and it just keeps on going. No problems, no input lag. I'm not feeling any kind of lag at all. Just really, really nice. But the downside of playing at 3000 by 2000 is that you're going to be stuck with extremely small pixels and fonts, and everything's going to be tiny. So I don't recommend playing at 3000 by 2000. So I actually turned vertical sync off because I kind of like the way it makes my eyes feel, and I also put it back to 1920 by 1080. Here I was stealing Dragon, and then I got out, and as you can see, I did it without any weird hiccups or any problems whatsoever. So when you're playing this game, you will not have any issues. Here I'm going to show you what the group fights look like, and we're getting a solid 80 to 90 FPS. That's really impressive, running everything close to max even. So 1080p gaming for League of Legends works really, really well. Here we're about to win the game. I was chasing this guy. There was one thing that happened. It was really, really bad. My game froze. It literally froze. So keep that in mind when you're playing. The 940M graphics chip, the dedicated chip, it can sometimes freeze. It froze again right before I won. So keep that in mind. That's really kind of scary when gaming. I lost Tryndamere because of that. Alright, so let's play Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I am a huge Counter-Strike fan, guys. If you want to add me, go ahead. We can play some Counter-Strike together. Alright, so Counter-Strike runs awesome. You can play at 1080p resolution with high graphics, not a problem. You can also do the very high. You can max everything out, even anti-aliasing and vertical sync. Look at that, I'm getting hundreds of frames in the hallway. So one thing I did notice, if you do decrease the vertical sync in AA, you can get a little bit more system stability, which is good. Keep this game at 1080p and it will run flawless. However, I do also want to show you what 3000 by 2000 will run like. Because people are always asking me, how does the native res look? Does it work? So in a little bit I'll turn it on here and show you. But for now, remember, 1080p is possible on this particular machine. So here I took a look at the graphics. This is what I had it on. I'm going to put it on 3000 by 2000. Take a look. So when you're playing at this resolution, you're going to be getting around like 50 FPS, but it's going to average around 40. It will drop down to 30 during firefights and with smoke. So keep an eye on this next clip where I'll show you there's going to be smoke, and I literally dropped down to 30 FPS, which to me really kind of sucks. But I really just wanted to know, like, would it play at native res like League of Legends? Because League of Legends can run max everything all the time. So I was able to take that guy out, but I dropped down to 34 frames. Then with the smoke, I dropped down to a solid 30, even 29 and 28 and 27. That to me just scared me. So remember, the 3000 by 2000, I would recommend playing against it. Can you get kills? You can. I just got a kill right now. But this guy right here, I pulled out the pistol on accident. Bad idea. I should have just had my gun out. He took both of us out. So that to me was really kind of shitty. So take a look. Watch what happens when I change it back from 3000 to 2000 by 1920 by 1200. I can fly through the whole map and not drop down to, I think, like 50. I think I'll stay above 50. I can fly through the whole map and not have any issues. That to me is really, really impressive. Alright, so this next game we want to test is Fallout. I'm currently running on 1440 by 800, and well, it's kind of one of those games that's a lot harder to run. I wasn't able to run the game smoothly at 1080p resolution. If you want to do that, you got to put your graphics on medium to lowish. But what I did is I played it on high on 1440 by 800, and on high it did pretty good. I did have trouble going above 60 FPS on high graphics, but overall the game looked good and it was playable. I didn't have any weird freezing or glitching. I also tried ultra graphics on 1440 by 800 and it still didn't really work too good. Actually, I was only getting around 30 FPS, so to me that was kind of disappointing. If you want, you can play this game at 1080p, but you're gonna suffer because you're gonna run the game on medium to low graphics, which kind of sucks. I mean, this is a really pretty game. You want to kind of enjoy it. It's really kind of up to you. I would pick high resolution textures over resolution any day. So for me, I'm like, well, it works, but I wasn't too impressed with the performance of Fallout 4. Next up is Dota 2. So with Dota 2, I tried native resolution first. I wanted to see if it was like League of Legends where I could just run it amazingly. On high graphics with the native res, it doesn't really work too good. I'm not sure why. I guess the game is more graphically intensive. So I took it down a notch. I went from high to medium, and I'll do that here in just a second. And that still didn't really help it. So what I realized was, as long as you're doing 1080p on this game, you can run the game on even ultra graphics and it'll run fine. See, I put it on medium with the native res, still doesn't work good. I'm only getting like 20 FPS, like just doesn't work good at all. And yeah, I guess this game does look better than League, so it does make sense. Then I tried 1920 by 1200, and I'm back up in the 40s and 50s, so that's getting a lot better, even almost close to 60. However, there is that stuttering. Did you see that? I have faced that stuttering in League of Legends as well. Not sure why it happens with these top-down games. Haven't really seen it in first-person shooter games yet. So, to me that's really odd. I'm not sure why that's happening.
Demacia!
With a dedicated graphics chip like this, I really do kind of expect it to work better. Because it is a somewhat expensive laptop, but you do have to consider what you're getting. So, if you take a look here, I did put the graphics on Ultra, and we do have a lot of the eye candy enabled. I just didn't do anti-aliasing because that's a frame killer. And as you can see, still looking great, still works great. Definitely playable. So WoW is a pretty popular game now, and it has a fairly old game engine. However, it's been updated numerous times, so gaming on this laptop with WoW should not be a problem. However, it does depend on where you're at with how many players you're playing. Initially, I do my test here at 1920 by 1200, low everything, and I'm in an area that has close to like 50 something people, getting around 100 frames. Not that impressive. Low is pretty low. Then I try Ultra with the same resolution. When I'm doing that, that's where it stresses the GPU a lot more. We're getting about 40 frames per second. Now, it really depends on how good you are with this game, because during laggy moments, are you going to be able to respond? And there's some areas that have probably close to hundreds of people, so I'm not sure how well it's going to hold up. I try high graphics, really not that much better. You can see the frames are pretty much the same, have not budged a whole lot. I do also try medium, which does change the graphics significantly. That's when you get an additional 20 FPS. You probably want to play the game on medium, all things considered, because you're not going to be in areas that have tons of people all the time. But there will be areas that are, medium population zones where I think medium will probably be okay. If you guys want me to look into this game more in depth on the Surface Book to actually check out other areas, leave a comment down below. Same thing with other games. If you feel I did not do a thorough enough test, I may be doing a part 2 if this video gets enough likes, and if you like my comment below that's asking should I make part 2. So as you can see, game is definitely playable. It is gonna run, but the question is, are you gonna have to downgrade your graphics when you're during intense moments? I think the answer is probably yes. It's just really highly dependent on where you go. This is a pretty cool game and it's got great music. I still haven't actually played it seriously, so I do have some friends that play it, so I might pick it up eventually. World of Tanks is one of those games that I would be playing if I had endless amounts of time. I only heard about it because you, my subscribers, told me about it and told me to test the game. It's actually really neat. I really like it a lot. So first thing I did is I maxed out all the textures and graphics, and I put on 1440 by I think 900 resolution, and ran great. Not a problem. Have all the eye candy you could ever want, and it runs flawless. What I did next is I tried 1920 by 1200. That's where I saw some issues. I wanted to be able to do 1080p gaming with no issues whatsoever on maximum detail. However, in this particular game, can't really do that. Your frames do drop down from like 50 to 60 to 40, even 30. But what's interesting is this engine uses some kind of, I don't know what technology they use, it's just smooth. Even when you're playing with low FPS, like 30 FPS, you can get kills. Like here I am driving around getting kills left and right. This is the first round, I haven't died at all. I'm able to move around freely. Right now the FPS is decent, but once I actually put it down to 1080p, now you can see again I'm at 30 instead of being 40, 50, I'm at 30. So watch as I drive around and I'm easily able to aim and get kills. You do notice it is a little bit choppier, but thing is, what do you want? Do you want better graphics, or do you want to be able to aim easier? What's more important? I did drop down to 18 frames, and that's when I said, you know what, maybe not. As long as I don't drop below 25, I think this game is playable. But you will dip eventually if you do try to play with max everything on 1080p. So if you drop down to medium or high, you can play at 1080p, but on max you can't. Here I'm just looking around trying to snipe a guy from a bush here. See if I can get him. Oh, this guy gets in my way. Jesus. Okay. Had to pop out a little bit more, kind of get my nose right up there, and then I took him out with that shot. So that one worked out pretty good. Minecraft was one of those games that I had a ton of trouble with, and I'm really concerned because Microsoft owns Minecraft now, and this is the Microsoft tablet, so it should work good, but here I just crashed. I had to try the game like 3 or 4 times before I could get it to work. It just kept crashing. What I did was I lowered the chunks from I think 32 back to 12, and then it worked. But every now and then, even at 12 chunks, I'd load my game back up and I can't seem to play. Sometimes I would just appear and the game just doesn't load. I think it could be an engine glitch even, I'm not sure. One thing I did find out is that the game, kind of regardless of what graphical settings you put on, doesn't really change. It's going to be running at around 25 to 30 FPS most of the time, unless you're like in a tunnel or something. There it crashed again. I had to basically restart the computer to get it working. To me, that's a real big disappointment because I know a lot of people like to play Minecraft and it doesn't make any sense. The game can run on the HD 520 integrated graphics on the tablet version. Why is the dedicated chip not doing good? So, and then I had a problem with the resolution, and everything was so small, it was really annoying. Eventually I got it working. But the biggest thing I noticed was that it just loads really slow. It's like for some reason Minecraft thinks that it's like a low-end computer and it's just not optimized for this video card or something. I don't know what's going on. I tried to do shadow play where I record the game using NVIDIA's recording software, but because I found out that this 940M that's in this laptop, it's some kind of custom version of the 940M. Is it the 940M or is it not? Leave a comment down below if you know anything about it. because for some reason NVIDIA's own software is telling me that I don't have a 940M. It's telling me that I can't use shadow play. So I'm really confused about that. But see, in the tunnel I was getting like 40 FPS. When I'm flying around, you know, I'm getting around 30. That's really disappointing. Most integrated graphics chips can play this game better. So I don't know what's going on with Minecraft. I went in, I bumped up the chunks to 32, and it didn't really take too much frames away. I think I was getting pretty much around 30 again, kind of the same, but there's like this stuttering effect too. So if you're gonna play Minecraft, I don't recommend the Surface Book for you. Grand Theft Auto 5, one of my favorite games. In this game, I test it at 1440 by 900 on medium graphics, and during the stress test, it does exceptionally good. I'm getting 100 frames per second. Then what I do is I load up the single player game and I try to see what it's like playing at 1080p but on medium graphics. Turns out it's just playable on medium. Don't take the eye candy up any higher because we're running at 40 FPS here. You're not really going to be able to enjoy the game with anything higher than that. Good thing medium graphics actually look pretty decent. They look on par with PlayStation 3, maybe a little bit better graphics. So, and I'm getting around 40, 50, sometimes 60 FPS. I can go outside and enjoy around 45 FPS, and the game is playable at 1080p on medium graphics. So that to me is kind of cool. I kind of thought maybe, just maybe, it would be a little bit better. I may be able to push some of the graphics on high and keep the frames per second, but I'd rather play it smoothly. I've played this game with so much lag in the past before, with so much integrated graphics chips that I've tested, which reminds me, if you haven't taken a look at my channel yet, I highly encourage you to do, because I've tested a lot of other laptops and I've tested the integrated graphics chips on there. Like for instance, the Surface Pro 4 on the i7 model runs phenomenal. It actually runs as good as this almost. Sometimes might even run better. Like Minecraft had issues on the Iris 540 on the Surface Pro 4, no issues in Minecraft. Look at my horse is amazing. Okay, so Rust plays like crap. I'm sorry, but it does not run good at all. There I go, killing a horse. I cannot put the game on any playable graphical setting. It's laggy. There's input lag on the mouse. I can't, even if I lower it to lowest resolution possible, the game doesn't play. It just runs really, really bad. I made sure I lowered all of the graphics. I went into the settings. There's even weird artifacting. The ground looks green and purple in certain spots, and it looks terrible. It plays terrible. I'm really disappointed. I really like Rust, and it's one of those games that I would love to go to a LAN party and just play. I'd like to, pick up my Surface Book and just play the games, and just enjoy it, but I can't. And for me, that's a big disappointment. Initially, I was very excited about this new chip, dedicated chip inside the Surface Book, but it has disappointed me on this game. So I don't know what to say. I tried lowering everything and I just can't get it to run right. Unfortunately, that is just the case. Next up, I test Arc, and the results are not good. You're not gonna like the way Arc looks. Arc doesn't even launch. Take a look. So Arc is just messed up right now. There's like 10 different launch options. I don't know what is going on with Ark Survival. It's such a cool game, but I can't run it. I launch it, I get this weird BattlEye launcher thing that doesn't run right. I think it's the anti-cheat software crashes, and therefore I can't play the game or something weird. It's this shooter game crashed. I'm really disappointed because two of the games that I like to play a lot, like the free roaming games, they just don't run right at all. And I'm telling you, it has something to do with Microsoft deciding to pick the 940M, but a weird mutated version of it. So in theory, when I was on the forums, they're talking about how they took the 940M graphics chip and they modified it. They did something to it. So now it has a custom driver that has all these issues. And most games run right, but some don't. And that's the reality. MGS5, what an awesome game. I think it's really cool and I love Snake. We're doing 1440 by 900. We're doing medium to high graphics. So let's take a look and see how it runs. So we're in an open world right now. So this is really stressing the GPU and it's going to show us realistically how well it runs. Right now I'm aiming my camera kind of up, but watch as I aim a little bit lower. We're dropping down to like sometimes 35, 30, averaging probably 38, maybe sometimes 40. Definitely playable on this setting. However, what I really want to know is 1080p possible? Can I play the game at 1080p and enjoy it? You'll find out here in just a second. So after doing that, I go in, I add 1080p, and then there we go. 20 FPS. So MGS5 has a special, like, I don't know what it is, but they can keep the game feeling smooth even though there's not a lot of FPS. Yes, 20 FPS is nothing to brag about. It's not impressive, but their 20 feels like the 30 that I'm used to. So I take the graphics, I put most of it down to medium, and I want to see if I can get it to look good and play decent. No bueno. Can't seem to get the game to run right. Again, not sure why. Most games run good, but occasionally you're going to find a few that just don't run right at all. The next graphical setting that I test is, I think it was like low everything. Yeah, low everything on 1080p. That, on the other hand, is playable. You're still not going to get as much FPS as you want, and it's still going to be like at 25-ish, 30-ish, but it feels like it's running at about 35. And again, I don't know how they do that, but it actually runs and it's playable, and I actually had some fun playing it. This game is mostly resolution dependent. If we take the graphics, we can put it on high. We can put it on probably close to max, but if we're playing at 1440 by 900, it's playable. Battlefield 4, one of my all-time favorites. So first I start off with 1080p on low everything, and it runs great. I'm able to fly around, I'm able to get kills, I can fly under the bridge or the railroad track and have no issues whatsoever. The cool thing is you're maintaining a good, 50, 60 FPS, and this is close to a full server. So this is like a good experience that you can enjoy on Battlefield. What I found out is if you take it and put it on medium, it still runs good. Battlefield 4 is one of those games that's optimized well, that's made by a company that's made a ridiculous amount of games, not to mention a ridiculous amount of bugs, because Battlefield 4 is one of the buggiest games I've ever played, next to Battlefield 3, and sometimes the game just bugs out. The zoom out glitch, I hate that one. I don't know if you guys ever had that one, but take a look. In a jet, performance is smooth. On foot, no issues whatsoever. If I take the game, put it on high graphics at 1080p, it's playable and it runs pretty darn good. However, I can drop down to 35 FPS on high graphics at 1080p. So keep that in mind. You can have the eye candy, but you will suffer. So if you'd like to have good graphics and good frames, keep it on medium and you'll be golden. You can maybe do medium high-ish to kind of balance it out, but that's my recommendation for you. The laptop appears to be fairly quiet most of the time. It doesn't have the same problem the other Surfaces had, where if you browse the internet, the fan turns on. That doesn't seem to happen as much on the Surface Book. When I got my thermal imaging camera out, that's when I noticed something very interesting. The laptop actually has 3, not 1 hot areas, not 2, but 3 hot areas for you to consider. In the connector area, it's pretty much the whole connector region. The back of the laptop gets hot, and even the front of the screen gets also hot. The whole thing kind of acts as a heat sink to cool the CPU, and it's just part of the design. This is what happens when you get a thin Ultrabook.
So, what do I really think about the Surface Book? Well, this is one nice premium laptop. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with the ability to be able to have a tablet and also have basically a gaming computer all in one, which you can't really find something like that can game, that looks nice, that also has the tablet support, and that overall just works well. I gotta say that the 940M, in my opinion, I feel like it's maybe a tad bit not strong enough. I would have liked them to put a 960M in there, just so I can get good gaming mostly on high graphics. Because what you'll find out is that with this particular laptop, you're only getting mostly medium graphics on 1080p resolution, which to me is definitely good enough. And I understand that this laptop has a very thin profile. If you're looking at it, you'll see that it's basically as thick as the USB ports. So the fact that they can even fit a graphics card in there, to me, is nothing short less of a marvel. Some of the downsides I noticed is that you can't unplug into tablet mode if you are playing a game or running software that requires you to use the dedicated graphics. Keep that in mind. Overall, I don't feel like the laptop gets that loud. It still gets fairly loud. It's going to be a little bit quieter than the MacBooks, and I know this because I've tested all three of the MacBooks in the past. Essentially, I wanted to get a MacBook that could game, and the Surface Book is essentially that. It's really close to MacBook-like quality with a big trackpad, with an awesome keyboard, but with better graphics. But the Surface Book leads me to ask the question, where does this product fit, in the product line? Who's this product for? I have had a Surface Pro 4, which had the i7 model with the Iris 540 graphics, and the 540 graphics run almost as good as the dedicated graphics on here, but for a fraction of less cost. So I could spend roughly around $1,400 and get the 540 graphics in the Pro 4, or I could spend $1,700, $1,800, close to $2,000 and get this. So if you want something that's more like a laptop, that feels more like a laptop, but still has that tablet capabilities, then the Surface Book is definitely the one you want to get. But if you like the slim form factor of the Pro 4 and you want to save some money, definitely get that and get it with the Iris 540. If you haven't seen the capabilities of the 540 yet, take a look at this video here, because it's going to show you how well the 540 performs. And me personally, I am extremely impressed at how good Surface Pro 4 with Iris 540 performs, because that is one of the first integrated graphics chips I have seen that can run any game I throw at it and do a really good job. So to me, that kind of confuses me, because I'm thinking, this has the 940M variant in here. It hasn't been quite, confirmed that it's really the 940, but it performs and acts like it, and it appears to be a version of that. And then the Iris 540 comes out of nowhere next to this 940, and it looks weird because they both kind of perform the same. I want to pay a decent chunk of money to get a dedicated graphics chip. I need it to be more powerful. That's how I feel about the Surface Book. Overall, the Hinge 2 has me worried, because take a look at the hinge technology real quick. When I look at this hinge, I feel like if a little bit of a dust particle gets in here, it is just gonna, over time, break this hinge down. Dirt, chunks of food maybe. I feel like I take pretty good care of my stuff, and that I feel like I'm not really gonna break it, but over time, it's gonna accumulate, and I don't know how long this hinge is gonna last. You can hear it. Listen to this. Essentially, there's some crunching noises. So the question is, can you game on the Surface Book? Yes, you can, and you can enjoy most of your titles quite well. Would I recommend this over other gaming laptops? I would say yes, but it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a device that's like a MacBook, but can play games better and runs Windows, this is the machine for you. I still am very impressed of the overall design. I think that it's not a perfect design, but it's really impressive how you have this one block of aluminum here, and there's no screws anywhere, a massive trackpad, just like the MacBook Pros. I really, really like that. And when you look at the back, you'll see, again, no screws. You just have the back plate. I think it's absolutely gorgeous design, and I love it. I think it's really awesome. People say that the MacBooks are expensive, and that the ZenBooks are expensive, and other products like maybe even the Dell XPS are expensive. But if you compare it to the Surface Book, you'll find out that the Surface Book is actually even more expensive than any of those. It's one of the most expensive devices you can get. And having said that, it's kind of difficult to decide, how much of it is worth it. If money is not an issue and you're buying something strictly on principle alone, I think this is a really great device. It has a lot of unique features that no other devices have that, for me, literally blow my mind. To have the tablet ability is great, but it raises another question. How practical is this design? If you unplug the tablet, you're only going to get about 3 to 4 hours of battery life. So to me, that's really kind of not good. In terms of the weight, this tablet mode, it's bigger than the Pro 4. That tablet is actually bigger, but it has no USB. So you have a more gimped, simple version of a tablet that you can move around. And if you're working on something here and you have your hard drive plugged in, and I was transferring files, and I was downloading things. I wanted to take my tablet to the kitchen, but I still wanted to be downloading things. If I unplug into tablet mode, I terminate all those tasks. I really wish that this computer had a small Intel Atom computer in here that could take over small tasks. So I could leave my base behind, go do my work in the kitchen, then come back and find my files are fully, transferred, and I have downloaded everything I needed. To me, I feel like that's really important, and I really wish that was a question that they tackled. I really think that this is the future of computers, but it does have a lot of work that it still needs. It still needs to be refined. Thank you for watching this far. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you subscribe because you're the type of person that actually likes to watch these types of videos. And I want to get to know you, so leave a comment below on which device you're going to get. What kind of laptop are you thinking about getting? This is a tech channel, and I'm trying to help you decide which products to get. So I definitely want to connect with you. I like to get one-on-one personal with my subscribers. So any questions you guys have, I will be answering them. So do not hesitate to comment below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Oh, well, we're in the shot. Yeah, we're like...
That's right. Oh, looks like we're about to win.
We were old school birthday, bro.
Let me see the abs.